Human.
The Fan welcomes some great shows to Grand Casino Arena next year. Pentatonics will be there November 20th.
No.
Pentatonics.
Is Pentatonics really going to be there? Who else?
Rascal Flatts.
No.
January 23rd. Eric Church. February 7th. Tickets on sale now. Get complete details on upcoming shows. KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Awful big names. Speaking of big names, the legendary one, Mark Rosen, joins us now here in studio. Here on a, it's kind of a murky Tuesday, and I think did I see the forecast correct? Are we expected to get significant amount of snow?
I don't know about significant in the metro area. I think we'll get some.
All right.
I think it's all kind of starts tonight, tomorrow morning. I think the northern part of the northern suburbs and reaching up towards Mille Lacs, et cetera, are going to expect to get more. I don't with the ground's so warm, I'm not quite sure how much of it's going to stick.
Yeah, that's true too.
But it's still. I mean, I was sitting in the coroner's office looking out on Highway 100. Even this time of day, it's already bumper to bumper, as they say, going south on 100, which is not unusual. So.
I think a winter is arriving because just temperature-wise, we've been very blessed up until now. It's been in the 40s. I played golf again today.
I saw that.
Those days are gone for a while now.
Yeah, I think that's it.
No! Since we last talked, the Gophers were unable to move the needle. They lost to Northwestern.
Oh my God.
The Vikings lose to Green Bay, and the young QB's performance was as dreadful as ever. Mm-hmm. And then he gets his bell rung late in the game. He feels like he's got concussion symptoms. He's in the protocol. Doesn't look like he'll play. So Brosmer will be the guy. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think it came as a little surprise when KOC announced it yesterday. I remember watching that play when McCarthy broke the pocket, ran about, 7-8 yards, and got hit, and then got one of the Packers
landed on top of him.
Landed on top of him. You could see his head kind of bounce off the turf. Hawkinson immediately grabbed him and pulled him up and, kind of got him back in the huddle. You think to yourself, I don't know. I don't think it necessarily affected. Well, we didn't ever know with J.J. McCarthy, but I don't think it affected him the rest of the game. But apparently, as we all know by now, he complained about some symptoms on the way home and went in the protocol. And we'll know a lot more tomorrow. But I think odds are that we're going to see Brosmer play for the first time this Sunday. And the kid obviously, if he needs a mental break more than the physical break, but something's got to change a little bit, and maybe Max Brosmer get a chance to.
You say we're going to see Brosmer for the first time. Do you think we've seen McCarthy for the last time?
I don't think so. No. I mean, unless it's a really serious concussion, I think they will.
No, I just mean because they never want to play him again.
Oh, no. They're going to want to trot him out there. I think they have to. I know you can say they have to. They don't have to do anything.
They don't.
But I don't know unless an undrafted free agent decides to kind of light it up, and obviously this would be a baptism by fire playing in one of the toughest road venues in the NFL against a really good football team right now, and not just what's he's not facing Sam Darnold, he's facing that Seahawks defense, and he's going to have his hands full. But I think we'll see what Brosmer does better right now is get the ball out of his hands, and whether it's 7-yard completions or something, I think it's just his timing. We'll maybe hopefully notice an uptick because we've all watched it. And I've seen this team play since forever. I don't recall a quarterback where you're just kind of going, I don't know if he can complete a 10-yard out. When he does, you just kind of go, oh my God, they just did that. As far as going down the field, we watch other NFL games, and I guess you can harken back to the Lions game, and you look, the Vikings beat the Lions in Detroit. The defense had a lot to do with it, but McCarthy did all right. I mean, he didn't burn up the numbers, but you want to have that kind of as a stepping point to moving on to the rest of the season with the ups and downs of a first-year quarterback, and it's just gone backwards. We've seen that in particular at home. So there's just nothing to kind of rally around to say, Bo Nix had some ups and downs last year, and a lot of the other first-year quarterbacks did, but he hasn't had many ups, and it's just there's no level of consistency right now. But I think the Vikings have got to play it out for their own good. I don't know what else you do unless you say we're done with them. Well, they're not done with them. He's going to have to play, and they have some on paper. They have some winnable games that the defense can do its part and keep them in the game. And we saw that KOC was approaching last week's game with a much more conservative approach with the running game, which was working well early. And, they were keeping him in the game even at halftime. It was a 10-6 game at halftime. That's kind of what you want to be. And now you need to kind of get a break. And then we saw, what happened with the special teams. And then the game, as soon as it became a 2-score game, it was over. We just have to wait and see. But no, I don't think McCarthy's done this year. I think unless it's something really, really serious, he's going to be back out there. And I think they want to see him complete this season. What happens after this year? The game plans,
What if he starts, in the next 3 starts, he gets worse and worse and worse? Do they keep playing until the end of the season?
I don't know how to answer that comment. I really don't at this point, because that was about as dreadful a performance I've seen, a lack of confidence, a lack of anything that from a quarterback in a long time. And you can throw all the quarterbacks in the hat and say, yeah, and I'm going, we all understand that it's a growing period and we get it. But I talked about with you last week, so there's just something just not right now. Whether it's the mechanics, he's thinking too much. I talked to someone who just said he's so cerebral. He's thinking him way out of just reacting as a quarterback. You can have 1,000 different film sessions and meetings and practices on your own home turf at home at TCO. It's not, you can't simulate game situations. So I don't know what to say, unless the guy, he's either going to be a complete bust or he'll get better at some point. But organizations can't wait that long, and you've talked about it many times. It's not fair to the guys who are out there in their own contracts and trying to win football games. This team won 13 games last year, and now you're looking at you're missing the playoffs, and you're looking at maybe 7 wins. I don't know. Who knows? Doesn't matter. But you want to see some incremental improvement from this kid, and whether it's against the Giants, whether it's against Washington, but we've seen the home games. The Bears game here. It was shocking that the Vikings were able to score in the last minute, take the lead, and he threw a touchdown pass to Addison. And you go, are the Vikings really going to win this game? And then the special teams let him down. But that still wasn't enough to kind of say, okay, he's figured it out. He hasn't figured anything out yet. So I don't know if there's an answer to that question other than the fact that, yes, I think they'll play McCarthy when he's healthy again.
It seems to me, and I've said this on a number of occasions now, and I'll say it again, I think they woefully misjudged how prepared McCarthy would be. And I don't know if part of that is ego with the quarterback whisperer. And I know he doesn't like to be called that, but he takes pride in his ability to coach up quarterbacks. And remember, they were coming off the 13-4 season. They could have re-signed Sam Darnold, who played extremely well. We know he had the bad game against Detroit. The Rams game, I think, had a lot more to do with how bad the offensive line protected him. They decided they didn't want to spend that kind of money on him. They let Danny Dimes leave the building because he knew they were going to go with McCarthy.
Right.
And they rebuffed any advances from Aaron Rodgers. And I think the coach thought, I got this. I'll coach this kid up. I like what I see him. It hasn't worked to this point at all in any way, shape, or form. And you talk about, you would hope by the time you get to the NFL, the mechanics aren't the problem. It's diving into the playbook and learning the nuances of the NFL and the speed of it, not like aligning your feet and your eyes anymore. So I don't know. That's
the point that it was been made over and over again. You're like watching a fledgling freshman in college trying to figure things out right now, and it just doesn't pass the eye test at all as an NFL quarterback. And that's the thing that hopefully McCarthy, he has to figure it out. The coaching staff has to figure it out. Otherwise, it's going to set this franchise back, and they're going to be starting over again by signing another veteran next year, going after someone else. I don't know how you make that decision and when. I don't think it's going to happen after this year, but they're playing with fire right now.
We'll talk more Vikings and other topics as well, including the Wolves, the Wild, and the Gophers, and so much more here on the Common Man program with Common Man Brett Blakemore and Mark Rosen here on The Fan.
teaching us, challenged us, or just made learning fun. Well, now's your chance to say thank you in a big way. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher. It's powered by Donors Choose. Okay. Okay. Nominate an outstanding public school teacher who's gone above and beyond for their students to win $5,000 to stock their classroom with whatever they need. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now. iHeartRadio.com/teachers. Okay.
Set.
Our computer just doesn't want to play this?
Yeah, it does every once in a while.
All right.
We don't need it. It's the least of our worries right now. I just got a text from Sauce says you're not listening to Rosen. Well, no, I wasn't. Well, I was kind of listening with half.
I just saw Sauce a couple minutes ago. He was here with Louis.
I was sort of listening. As Dark Star would say, I really wasn't listening. I was just waiting for my turn to talk.
We all do that.
I always love that one.
I'm interested to see how Brosmer plays. It'll be, again, it is a very difficult situation. You're playing a very good Seattle team with a very good defense. Sam Darnold, let's face it, I think there'll be a chip on his shoulder a little bit. I don't know this. I've not heard him say it. But my guess, he was more than willing to resign here, and the Vikings didn't want him. And so he probably thought, not good enough for you, huh? So I'm sure he'll have some extra added incentive. Seattle's in the playoff mix.
Yeah.
I don't know if Darisaw plays or not. Was he the ankle or was that Jonah Jackson? I think he had an ankle injury, and Jackson did as well. Both of them left the game. They might not have the left side of the of their offensive line, and they'll have a rookie, undrafted free agent quarterback making his professional debut as a starter. Again, on the road against a really good team with a good defense and a quarterback that's probably got a little chip on his shoulder. It's going to be a difficult situation. What's that?
I would say that as far as the chip on the shoulder thing, he's a pro's pro, understands that, and I think Darnold fully understood. No, but I'm just saying he understood. Yeah, let's see. Well, listen, we're going to go with the rookie. I don't want to compete. I don't want to be a backup. I don't want to be a backup here. I think that was Danny Jones' situation. Obviously, that's why he went to the Colts.
There's a professional.
Of course, but
Sam Darnold put up numbers that were brilliant. He took the team to the playoffs. And all of a sudden they basically said that's not good enough. We're not giving you $100 million. You can go elsewhere. So you probably went, I know that's how I'd feel. I'd be going, I'm not good enough for you, huh? No. Okay. Well, I think there's a chip on the shoulder. Sure, he understands his business. I guarantee you he wants to take it to the Vikings.
I'm sure he does.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I think there's an added incentive for him. I believe there is.
The case.
I don't think there's any doubt. I don't know that. Maybe not. But I would think. I'm just trying to put all the different things that are working against Brosmer on Well,
Sunday. He's going to have his hands full at that, and then that's again, it's not 100% because we have McCarthy hasn't officially been diagnosed with a concussion, but all signs point towards if he's not even close to 100%, and people talk about a soft benching and everything. I think he legitimately got dinged and got hurt, and if he's not feeling well then. I think the smart thing might be, we're going to throw him to the Wolves again out in Seattle. If you think what was happening in Green Bay was bad, at least the first half was competitive. Man, I don't see that even being the same in Seattle against that team, that offense, and the way that they're rolling right now. The Vikings defense has got enough to worry about, forgetting about who the quarterback is for the Vikings to try to contain Darnold and that offense that's very explosive and that NFC West, with the Rams looking like Super Bowl team, the leading Super Bowl team right now. The 49ers have managed to kind of cobble things together. They're getting a little healthier. They're always going to be a threat, and Seattle's right there with them. That's a really, really good division. We talk about how competitive the NFC North is, with the exception of the Vikings right now. But the NFC West is.
I'm about to say something controversial.
Okay,
that's interesting.
I think the Vikings are going to be very competitive this week. I'm not predicting a victory, but I'm shocked, really. I think they are going to be because the reason they've struggled so bad has been by absolutely horrific quarterback. Brosmer can't be that bad. There's no chance he can. Matter of fact, I think Brosmer, from what you hear about, I'm not saying he's going to be the NFC Offensive Player of the Week or anything like that, but I just don't think he's going to melt under the pressure. I think he'll do fine. If he gets time to throw, he'll be okay. I I'm not predicting the Vikings to win, but I think the Vikings will put up a much better performance this week.
I hope you're right. I mean, I think
I guarantee it.
They'll have, I think
I'm guaranteeing
they want to extend the plays, but I think Brosmer can get the ball out quicker. I think he'll make quicker decisions. He's older. I mean, he's been around. This will be his first start, but I don't think I hope the stage won't be too bright for him.
No.
But the Vikings will want to run the ball again. They were doing it effectively against the Packers, and then
will they want to run the ball, or will they just tell Brosmer to go out there and just let her rip, buddy?
Well,
go ahead, kid. You got nothing to lose. Let's let her rip. KOC goes, I can go back and play my offense now that I want to play. We got a new kid in there that knows it. He was really good in the preseason. He was winging it all over the field. The rest of the team is probably going, whew. Now we've got that burden of the kid. And I'm not trying, this is not, there are people that, I felt bad for McCarthy.
That's all you can do.
I feel bad for the kid. I mean, your dream is to play in the NFL, and he just has looked so completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
There was the stat that he would have had a better quarterback rating had he spiked the ball 20 times.
I think about it.
Did you see that stat?
I did.
So my point is,
when you start mentioning Jamarcus Russell in the same breath as his statistics, that's not good.
I believe it's human nature that, for instance, when the listeners realize I'm leaving the air and Barrero's coming on, there's a little spring in their step. Hey, Barrero, finally a polished, poised, and professional talk show host, not a lazy, uninformed, unprepared bozo like me. So I think there may be guys. I got to think Justin Jefferson.
Well, Aaron, throw it to him deep. Let him go.
I think Justin Jefferson might be going, I love McCarthy, and I hope he comes back and plays well. But hey, maybe I'll get more opportunities with a different kid in there.
Yeah, the fan base will be very anxious to see how this all plays out as well. And otherwise, if McCarthy had started or does start this week, which again is highly unlikely, I think it'd be another kind of gloom and doom kind of approaching kickoff. Going, what could possibly go worse for them today than it did against Green Bay? I don't think you can get that low, and yet. I'm thinking to myself at halftime, they got a shot at this thing. It was 10-6.
Until the ball bounced off Price's leg.
Well, that was the killer.
Forced I think Green Bay took the second half kickoff. I think they picked up one first down, but then they had to punt the ball.
Yeah.
And Price, he had the right intentions. He was trying to throw a block so that the ball would go to the end zone so they could get it back out at the 20 or 25, whatever. Yeah. Ball ends up taking that wacky bounce.
He got pushed into the ball. That's his fault.
Exactly. And next thing you know, it's two plays and Green Bay scores and now it's 17-6.
That's it. Yeah, that's game, set, and match when you're playing a quarterback under those circumstances. Again, we're not watching Brett Favre trying to come back with the Vikings in 2009. It's not going to happen with this team. As we saw, the statistics, the tail of the tape, as we like to call it, tell the story for what the Vikings are even capable of at that point. 17-6 might as well be 77-6.
I tend to agree. Let's take a break. Come back. We'll talk about a couple of. We'll discuss some other topics. Other side of the break. It's the Common Man with Brett Blakemore and Mark Rosen here on the Fan. Couple 13-14 pass. Last segment of the Grum today. I'm Common. He's 10-B. The legendary Mark Rosen is here as well. Gophers, they lose in a shootout, 38-35 to Northwestern. They had a double-digit lead, I believe, in the second half. They let that get away, and then they lose on a field goal. They had a chance to force overtime, and they missed a 40-yarder at the buzzer. Northwestern, just another 500 clubs, sort of like the Gophers, sort of like and there might be a game or two over 500, the Gophers, but you know what I'm saying? Just that team you're going to probably win some, lose some. You're going to lose to the really good teams, and you'll beat some of the mediocre.
I was driving around, early in that game, listening to on this very airwaves here, Mike Grimm and Darryl Thompson as always, and Northwestern went right down the field against the Gophers, and it was interesting hearing Grimm and Darryl both talk about the fact that what poor angles the Gophers, and I'm not watching it, they're describing it to me, what the poor angles the defense took on all these runs that Northwestern was executing against the Gophers. And it was like oh my God, what are they doing? Do they go to tackling school? Do they learn the fundamentals? That basically continued the whole game, and it's kind of been a symptomatic problem. And I know they had some new guys. There's always new guys in there, et cetera, et cetera. But, whatever nil money the Gophers have left, they better invest in defense and maybe a new kicker that they brought in because from the portal, he can't kick past 40 yards on a field goal. So it's discouraging that way because you think that at this point, and we talked about it last week, these are the games you just have to find a way to win. I mean, you just do if you want in year whatever it is, 7, 8. That you're great. You qualified for another bowl game. It's just a hollow kind of feeling that their defense is just so bad. And the quarterback for the Gophers looks like he's got a lot of promise. I think the wide receiver they had, I think they got to improve in that area. But they got Wisconsin here this week, and Wisconsin's not going to a bowl game, but this is their bowl game. We know how the old cliche about this is the one that they get up for, and they've been playing better football. So. How many people are going to go out there on Saturday and with the weather being what it is, et cetera, et cetera. I know it's a rivalry game, I think, for the Axe, et cetera, but it's just not the kind of feeling I thought the Gophers would have this time of year. We've been there, done that.
It's too mediocre. Wisconsin's actually probably worse than mediocre.
But they've gotten better. They've gotten a little bit better of late, but still, you're right. They've had a terrible season. I think people are surprised their head coach got re-upped for next year. So, yeah, it's just discouraging because, it's just...
Randy Johnson writes, Gopher Football. He's the beat writer for the Fish Wrap Factory West Side. Here's what he wrote. The Gophers' defense, a week after giving up 510 yards in a loss at playoff contending Oregon, surrendered 525 at Northwestern, a team that entered the game ranked 106th nationally in total offense, 110th in scoring offense, in 116th in passing offense. Their quarterback was 25 of 30 for 305 and 2 tutties. Griffin Wild had 11 catches for 111 yards and a tutty. Hayden Elegon, the second, had 7 catches for 127 yards. The Gophers coughed up a 28-13 third quarter lead and allowed the Wildcats to score 22 consecutive points and 25 overall in the second half.
Yeah, it was hard to watch.
And that's they gave up more yards to Northwestern
than Oregon.
And you saw those numbers where they were ranked nationally. To me, is Northwestern knocking the ball out of the park with nil money? I don't think
Probably
so.
Not.
Are they? I think most kids go there.
Academics.
It's academics, and then I'll play some football as well. To me, that's embarrassing. It really is. And here's what annoys me more from his piece. It says, over the past 3 games, the Gophers have given up 1,502 yards to Northwestern, Oregon, and Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State.
That's averaging 500 yards a game. Yeah. Here's what Flex said. I don't look at the third straight game. This was a 1-game championship. Okay. I'm so tired of this 1-game championship season. It's a trend, PJ. That's 3 games in a row where your defense was bludgeoned. It is. You take each game individually. I get that as far as the standings go. This doesn't count as 3 losses, though it probably should. But this championship season gibberish and all that, I think by this time at 9 years, I think people are getting a little impatient with that. I'm not expecting him to win the Natty.
Right.
I'm not asking him to win the Natty. But don't get embarrassed by Iowa, Ohio State, and Oregon as badly as you did. And then Northwestern. I know it went down to the wire, but to give up over 500 yards?
Well, especially when you tout early in the week again about how, we got to get off to a good start. We're emphasizing getting off to a good start, both on offense and defense. And Northwestern takes the ball and goes right down the field. And that's like I said, I was listening on the radio, and those guys are both going, I think they're pretty fair. I mean, obviously they're going to have a little Gopher homerism to them, but man, they didn't pull any punches. They just said, I don't know what the defense is doing out there. And in terms of the angles of trying to tackle the guys, not that Northwestern was that great offensively, but the Gophers were just so out of position defensively that you kind of go, what do they do all week in preparing for this opponent? And why are they getting thrashed like this against the Wildcats? And like ended up being it's entertaining game only in score alone because the Gophers were able to, as you just mentioned, Common, the Gophers were able to build a 28-13 lead, and they coughed that up. So I don't know. I've long resigned myself to the fact that it's just not. This is what you get. I'm not going to get all wrapped up in why they're not getting better right now. I just you see signing days coming up, and you see on social media the Gophers getting these commitments from such and such a player and so, and they're outstate guys. Well, okay, we'll see how it works. I mean, I don't know. I think Coy Parrish is probably making, as far as nil money goes, more than anyone else on that team right now. The quarterback probably be in a position to, maybe as his career goes on, but they're not competing at the level financially, certainly with a lot of other teams. But you just brought up a good point. Northwestern, I can't imagine, is pouring
I don't think maybe
hundreds of thousands of dollars into players that
they very well could be, but I just don't think they are. I don't know.
No,
like I say, I think academics is the number one reason you go to Northwestern, and then if you're a good football player,
it's bonus time. Bonus time. Coach was emotional after go. I think they're qualified for a bowl game. That's a big deal to them. It is a big deal to them, and he has a right to feel a little more emotional because they weren't expected to. The Gophers, they go to some bowl game in Detroit somewhere.
How about your Wild Club? They went from being as big a disappointment to start the season as we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah,
they are now the best record in the league in the month of November, 9-1-1.
Right.
The Wall in St. Paul, Wallstead, whatever you want to call him. He had a 32-save shutout against the Jets in their last game.
Right.
It was his third in his last 4 starts, making him the league leader in shutouts and the youngest Wild goalie to achieve the feat.
How about that?
It goes to show you, we know quarterback's the most important position in all of sports, but I think goaltender's a close second.
Well, he's been such a pleasant surprise because he had a disappointing year back and forth with the Wild, and now he's kind of figuring it out. And it's a nice problem they have. I heard John Hines on with PA late this morning, and I think the question was, how do you decide which goalie is going to go, especially when they're both hot? He goes, we basically, alternate at this point because they're pushing each other. They are, and you can tell the competition within that room, friendly competition, is real. And the youngsters are figuring it out, and you got Kaprizov and Boldy playing at a really high level, and it's a lot of fun. Now they play your guy, Connor Bedard, and the Chicago Blackhawks tomorrow night in Chicago. They're an improved team, but, and then the big one is Friday afternoon, day after Thanksgiving. The Colorado Avalanche, I think they lost still one game or something. Look up their schedule.
They're really good.
Yeah, Colorado, Denver's having a banner season in their winter sports team. Obviously, the Broncos are having a great year. I don't think.
Let me ask you a question.
I was going to fill in the blank.
Has the Lange faced the Wall from St. Paul yet?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think they have
We'll
lost.
see how they play when. Maybe you have the answer to the question. You follow the league better. Have the Lange played the Wall in St. Paul yet?
I don't think they have. They're 16-1-5 this year.
Okay.
Have they played the Wall in St. Paul?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, that's all you need to know.
I think I read
like our chances.
Stat last week that between the Nuggets, the Lanche, and the Broncos, they hadn't lost a home game this year. The 3 major sports teams, and that's a great sports town. It's all about much the way it is with the Vikings here. Everything's about the Broncos in Denver, but they got to be pumped up, and they love their hockey team and obviously the basketball team. I don't think they've lost a home game.
But let me ask a question. Isn't any city a great sports town when all 3 of your teams are doing nothing but winning? Yeah,
but I'm just talking about the year-round attention that they get through the media, etc. Of course, but there's nothing. Football is run like it is here, is king of the hill in Denver with the sports shows that they have there, and I've been out there enough to. You consume it all, but it's. So
what you're saying is it's very similar to the Twin Cities, where 3 out of the 4 Big 4 teams are worth talking about, and the baseball team's an afterthought.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to.
I didn't mention the Rockies. No, I did not.
Yeah,
but they still draw. They draw like 30,000 people a game, and they're awful. Their management doesn't care, much like the Twins, and they don't put any money in their team. I see your guy Sonny Gray was traded back to the American League to the Boston Red Sox. So
He was indeed.
Yeah,
Should still be with us.
yeah, that's a whole nother story.
But he's not. And then your Wolves Club.
I should have stayed up and watched the end of the game.
That's 2 games in a row. And the loss to Phoenix, I read that the Phoenix players said that they were getting taunted by the Wolves there at the end of the game.
They've been trash talking a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, this is not a professional outfit. They're playing with zero poise down the stretch. They blew an 8-point lead, as you mentioned, in Phoenix, with less than a minute to go in that game on Friday night. Last night against an undermanned Kings team, they were up by 10 with 3 minutes to go. Again, Sabonis is out. And I'm watching this game thinking, the Wolves are going to, ebb and flow of the game. They're up by 9, they're up by 11, they're up by 7. They're just going to put it away with free throws. And, and Ant's putting up 40 plus, and he had 43. And then they just managed to give it away. And you just go, in overtime. Now, tomorrow night, there'll be double-digit underdogs. We're playing the machine that is the OKC Thunder on the road. They'll probably go there and win tomorrow night. But they have yet to beat a team with a winning record this year. And something...
You say you think the Wolves are going to go there and win?
That's the kind of conventional wisdom you think about. I don't know. I really don't. But nothing would surprise me. They'll get up for that game. Something's got to be done. I know they miss Nickeil Alexander-Walker a lot. They don't have that grit coming off the bench. They need a point guard.
And the Lakers miss Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You got to get over. You got to move on with your life.
I know that, and that's why they can't keep everybody. And Terrence Shannon's coming back from an injury. Dillingham can move the ball around a little bit, but he can't shoot with a lick. I just can't see Tim Connolly standing pat. When you got a team that has gone to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row, they're going to have to make a move of some sort. I'm not saying sooner than later, but at some point, because this is not sustainable. The lack of poise that this team has demonstrated against winning teams in particular, but last night was not a winning team, is alarming, is all I will say. And Randall did not have a great game last night. He's played really well this year, but...
Is that game at OKC?
It is.
The Wolves have zero chance. Zero.
They beat them there a year ago, I think. The way that OKC is... way that OKC is going. The one game they lost this year, they had a 20-some point lead, I think, and they lost the game somehow.
And they learned their lesson.
Yeah, they learned their lesson. Now they're just crushing people. They're winning, I think, on average.
Polished, professional. Yeah. They play with a purpose.
Well, they are.
That's what. No, I'm serious.
I know.
That's what it has to be.
Well,
Brett Blakemore's laughing at me. It's not meant to be funny.
No, they are.
You find this funny, Mr. Blakemore? You're laughing and smiling again. You're back at it again.
They are men among boys in the NBA right now. As far as a team that, we thought they won the championship. They're even better right now, and there are not many teams that you can say that. The West is really good. Obviously, Denver's great. Lakers make some noise. Phoenix is good. Houston's very good. The Wolves can be really good. But OKC's on a whole nother level right now, and that's to their credit. They're hungry. They want to win another ship this year. That's for damn sure. So that's tomorrow.
Must be nice to have a team in town that you live in like OKC, where your team is poised, polished, professional, play with a purpose.
That's
the 4 Ps.
That's the only
poised, polished, professional, and with a purpose. That's what they do in
well, that's the only show in town, and they got a hell of a show in OKC right now. Watching that team, SGA, and our guy Chet Holmgren, who's having even a better year right now, and a deep bench, and the rest of the story.
Why do some teams have that ability to be poised, polished, professional, play with a purpose, and then you have your Minnesota Timberwolves?
Well, there's a lot of teams you can say that about, but the Timberwolves are. But
a lot of those teams you say it about are also teams that are 1-12. I'm talking about teams that are.
I don't know.
Back-to-back Western Conference. Isn't there a hunger there and a desire and maybe there is, and they're just not as good as we think they are?
Well, that's the problem. That people are. What could Chris Finch do differently with his rotation And Sacramento was out of timeouts last night with like 8 minutes to go. Everything was in Minnesota's favor. And they just, lack of poise. I don't know how else to explain it. Ant did everything he could. He made a mistake or two at the end, but he put in 43, and Randall was taking some off balance, not great shots, and they just got sloppy. And I don't know. So the Wolves are 10-7, and they're going to.
I think it was the night before the loss to Phoenix didn't. I think Ant missed a couple of free throws.
He
late,
did.
Right? And I'm not laying the loss on him, but
no, I know.
He goes for 40, but then when it came to those missed free throws later, just huge in the game.
Yeah, that would have clinched the game.
Yeah.
But so there you go.
What are your plans for the holidays?
Well, we are
in town, out of town,
in town for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Car and I are going out for dinner at a restaurant.
Oh.
And then we're going down to Westbrook, driving down 3 hours plus. We're celebrating her dad's birthday is actually a month from now, but we're celebrating now because we're thinking the weather might be a little bit better, we hope. He's turning 90, so we're having a
90
VFW and Westbrook standby party time.
That'll be the first family get-together you've been to where you're not the oldest guy in the room?
Yeah, not even close. I might be one of the youngest ones in that
really?
VFW.
Yeah. That's
but that'll be fun. So we're excited about that. And then, the whole family's going to be around, and rightfully so. And so,
are you
I'll be back in town.
You like the traditional turkey dressing, taters and gravy,
we're going to a restaurant that's got options of the regular menu or the Thanksgiving menu, and I'm going to definitely go to the Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah,
I want to. Listen, it's Thanksgiving.
Well, because you generally do the Thanksgiving menu on Thanksgiving. So,
correct. Yeah. What are you doing? Having the kids
over my brothers.
Oh, okay.
My brother and his wife will host, and then he'll have his 3 sons over.
Fun.
Our family will be there, my sister and her husband and daughter.
Nice.
And it will be a good time. So we'll watch a little football.
I'm definitely going to watch the game I am going to see, obviously, the Kitties. Remember when Detroit was, I'm telling you something you don't know. My God, Detroit's on Thanksgiving. We have to watch the Lions again on Thanksgiving. This is depressing. How bad they were for decade after decade. Now they get this great game against Brett's team on.
Well, and there were those. And I actually understand the almost anger by the average fan that says, why does Detroit, just because of this tradition, why did they get a game every
year?
Single year? But it first started in Detroit for whatever reason. So they've always gotten the home game on Thanksgiving. And then Dallas is in the same. I don't know how long it's been. How many years in a row has Dallas had?
A long time.
And it used to be just the 2 games.
Yes.
It would be Detroit at home, followed by Dallas at home. Now they've added a 3rd game, so there are 3 games. And that one rotates, I think. I don't think it does.
Now they got a Friday afternoon game, Black Friday. So the Bears are playing the Eagles on Friday afternoon, if you knew that or not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're playing on, is that the one on Prime, I think? So while you're out shopping around,
is that a day or is it an evening?
It's an afternoon game. I think it's a 2:00 game.
All right.
That's kind of a marquee game right now with the Eagles coming off that blown lead against Dallas and the Bears. How long can the Bears hang on in the NFC North? But yeah, I think the Packer. That'll be a fun game to watch. The Packers and the Lions.
Programming note. I think this is the first time ever that I can recall that the Lions Thanksgiving Day game won't start at 11:30. It's a noon start.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know
that's what Deuce pointed it out to me, and I Googled it, and it says, I don't know. Instead of 11:30, they've decided, used to always be an 11:30 start. Now it's a 12 noon start. It's a 12 noon, and then the game 2, who does Dallas play? I don't even know.
Look it up.
Right. Who does Dallas play this week? They play, I will tell you, they play the Chiefs at home.
Oh, my. That's an attractive game.
And then what's the 3rd? I'm laser focused on the Kitties Packers.
I don't blame you.
The games do nothing.
3rd is Bengals Ravens.
And Joe Burrow's coming back, I think.
Why, by the way?
What?
There's no need to play him.
Why?
They're 3-8.
Who cares? He gets paid millions and millions of dollars to
play.
Get
a better draft pick.
No, man. No. He's got to play. He wants to ruin the Ravens season if he can. But those are actually really good football games.
3-8.
Wow.
Yeah.
NFL analytics, less than 1% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Remember the Vikings had that big game against the Bengals here, and they got like 3 interceptions, and Isaiah Rodgers.
That was our high water mark.
That was it. Like, this is going to be a fun season.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was all going our way back then, wasn't it?
Well, you got one more day tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll be in.
I will.
We'll make our official prediction, but I'm just telling you this. I think Brosmer is going to have a really good game.
I'm marking that down.
Now, I'm not saying 30 for 35 and 405 and 3 tutties, but I don't think he's going to melt under the pressure. I really don't. He'll probably have his mistakes, but I think he'll make some plays.
Everyone in the state will be rooting for him.
It should be fun. We will see you then tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Brian Oak will be in as well for some Rock Talk. Blake Moore, you're safe travels. You're going back home for Thanksgiving. Good for you. I think Devin will be sitting in that chair for 10 to be tomorrow. We enjoyed our visit with you. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 12 noon. Stick around. Big Ticket and Brett Blakemore are next here on The Fan.
Good night, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Minnesota! Good night, folks, and good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
I'm a fraud.
Yes.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.